to move to the house. We are continuing with our engagement with the Department of Correctional Services. I think before we start, I asked the Secretariat yesterday to circulate 2 letters. One letter from the chairperson of the audit committee and another letter from the minister. Can I confirm if members have received the 2 letters?
I got them.
Yes, we received them. Thank you.
Okay. Members, in the light of the responses from both the minister and the chair of the audit committee, what do we say? Should we not allow the minister to continue with what he has asked for more time? Or what is the view of the members?
May I speak, Mr. Chair?
Honorable Bredenbach.
Thank you. Yes, I received the letter from the minister and I have no objection in principle to him dealing with the matter. It should not be, however, an open-ended deal. The investigation must be done and a report back must be made within a specified time period, not sometime in the future that nobody is sure of. So I suggest we just put a time limit on it.
Okay, thank you very much. Other members?
Swart, Chair.
Honorable Swart.
Chair, I support the Honorable Breitenbach and that the Minister should be given more time to look into the matter. They'd also read the letter from the Chair of the Audit Committee. There's a genuine contrition there, but I do think that it does need to be looked into by the Minister. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable Mufokeng.
Good morning and thank you, Chairperson. I agree with the latter speakers that we should give the Minister enough time to do the investigations. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable Jada.
Morning, Chair, and good morning, members. I agree also, I'm covered. Are we going to be the ones who give the Minister? Because I think if at all, it's us who will decide on the time frame. We must just give the time frame now so that we don't give confusion. And then the Minister knows exactly that maybe sometimes January when we come back, at least we have that set date. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Any other member? I see none. Can we agree that we give the Minister until the end of January? Because I think we will be back on the 2nd week of January and we'll be dealing with the 3 GBV bills, which will take us, I think, towards the end of January. Can we agree that by the end or before the end of January, the Minister should have concluded his investigations, taking into account that very soon departments and everybody else will be closing. So the 1st week of January is usually when people are coming back from holidays. People really start working on the 2nd week of January. That we give him until the end of January. Is that okay, members?
That's fine, Mr. Chair,
Yes,
but
Chair.
even the end of January is open-ended, a date. 30th, 29th, 31st, a date.
31st.
Done.
Yes, by the 31st, before or by the 31st of January, but not later than the 31st of January.
Agreed, Chair.
Thank you very much. We took note of the letter. It will form part of what the Minister should be investigating. Can we move from this item? Members, I think let's also commend the Department of Correctional Services. They took the, sorry, they went to extra length to ensure that they made written responses to all the questions that we asked, or let me say to most of the questions, because I'm not sure if there are other questions that were not answered, but they made an attempt to answer the questions that we have asked and gave us a written response. I've asked the Secretariat to circulate the responses to all the members. Members, did you receive the responses from the Department of Correctional Services?
Yes, thank you.
Yes, thanks.
Well, thank you very much.
Yeah, but there was load shedding this side. I could not go through many of the things. Thank you, Chair.
Oh, okay. No, thank you very much. I've also asked the
Chair?
Secretariat. Hello?
Wilma would like, Honorable Wilma would like to say something.
I will give you a chance, Honorable Nilbert Drachen, just now, just a minute. I have also I've also asked the Secretariat to forward those responses also to the Office of the Auditor General, because some of them relate to issues that the Office of the Auditor General had raised, issues of performance management, information systems. So after Honorable Nivot Drachens, I would ask that also the Auditor General respond before members can start with their engagement. What were their impressions on the questions, or on the responses, not questions, sorry, on the responses that were made by the department. Honorable Nivot Drachens.
Yes, thank you, Chair. Good morning, everyone. The emails came through this morning only, so I have not had a chance to read it. So I'm hoping that there will be a summarized verbal response as well, if possible. Thank you.
Can you repeat that, Honorable Nivot Drachen?
Yes, the email did come through, but only this morning, 12 past 7. So I haven't had a chance to go through it yet, but I'm hoping for a verbal response from the department, because I haven't studied the response. So I'm hoping the department can at least give a verbal summary with a verbal response. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much. Let's first hear from the Auditor General.
Good morning, Honourable Chairperson and Honourable Members. We have only received the responses from the Secretariat now, Chairperson, so we haven't had time to go through it. We will go through it as soon as we can.
I think in the meantime, let's ask the department to go through the responses verbally. Immediately after the response, the verbal responses from the department, you would have had time to listen to the department and you can respond. Then members would make their follow-ups.
Thank you, Chair.
Good morning, Honourable Chairperson and members of the Portfolio Committee. I'd want to take this opportunity again, Chairperson, for allowing us to respond to the questions raised on the 2nd of December. We apologize for sending the written responses this morning, but it was to assist the members as we verbally respond to be able to follow our responses. I thought just before I allow my colleagues to respond,
Okay.
Chairperson.
So sorry, Commissioner. No, your responses were sent yesterday. Something happened on our side, or maybe it was the network or what, but in all fairness to you and to your team, the responses we received them yesterday, and we asked yesterday that they be distributed. So there might have been a network problem, because when the last time I spoke to Mr. Rabano, he indicated that he has circulated the responses to the members. I suspect that there was a network problem, but I wouldn't want you to accept a blame that does not belong to you. You sent them yesterday.
No, thank you, Chair. I think there was 2 sets of responses we sent, Chair.
Okay.
There were 2 sets of responses, so I just wanted to say that. Chair, before my colleagues provide feedback, I thought that it's just prudent that I mentioned that there had been a shooting incident at our head office yesterday, where an official had shot another official. I can indicate that the official that was wounded is in a stable condition. We have instituted an investigation that should give us results by next week, and we're also looking at the issue that had allowed such an incident to happen. So I think at the future stage, Chair, we will be able to provide feedback, a comprehensive feedback on the matter. The individual that had shot the colleague had been arrested and is remanded as we speak. With that, Chair, I'm going to ask my colleagues to respond to the questions. I'm going to ask strategic management to start with the response, and it will then be followed by the other colleagues. Over to you, Ms. Naika. Thank you, Chair.
Good morning, Chairperson and honorable members of the Portfolio Committee. In response to the questions that were raised by the honorable members on the 2nd of December, we'll start the responses with performance information. On performance information, on the document that was forwarded this morning, we've done a summary of analysis of findings on performance information over the past 5 years, dating back to 2015-16. In 2015-16, the department was audited on all its core programs for at least 2 years, 2015-16 and 2016-17. And subsequent to that, the department was only audited on Program 2 and Program 5. In the 2015-16 financial year, we had about 411 findings on performance information. This reduced to 108, further reduced to 31, then to 24, and for 19-20, we had 10 findings on performance information. In terms of the total number of indicators that were audited, we had 27 in 15-16, 27 in 16-17, 13 in 17-18, 14 in 18-19, and 33 in 19-20. The findings that we've received from the Auditor General over the 5-year period have also shown improvement. In the 15-16 year, we had various indicators that received findings on usefulness and reliability. From 16-17, the department has shown significant improvement. Our key area of concern remains on our ability to accurately and reliably report on bed spaces. So from 2016-17, the department has really had one material challenge, which has been our ADS system and reporting on the bed spaces. But as a result of that system, in 19-20 and in 18-19, both the indicators that had material findings, which are dependent on that ADS system, had reliability findings from the AG. And that relates to the accommodation determination system that's not able to produce bed space totals that accurately reflect the situation at our correctional centers. At the back of the document, we've provided on page 13 and page 14, we've just provided a summary of all the how the audit takes place in terms of performance information. And we've indicated that out of all the audit criteria, currently the department is having a challenge on consistency and on reliability, but it's only related to one indicator on consistency, which was the infrastructure project, and one indicator on reliability, which was the overcrowding. And both of those indicators come from the same challenge, which is the ability to generate reliable bed-based information. In terms of the other indicators, the department has not had any material challenges. We do acknowledge that we are reporting on a manual system, but due to that manual system, we've ensured that we have adequate controls in place so that we properly verify and report on the information with appropriate source information. So interventions that we've put in place over the past 3 years, particularly related to performance information, include the fact that we, at management at all areas of the department, so from center level to management area level to regional levels, all management ensures that through their committee meetings, they have monthly and quarterly sessions to validate the completeness and accuracy of information. On a quarterly basis, we have a monitoring and evaluation forum where we include all our regional coordinators and our program managers to verify performance information as our first line of defense. The validated report on a quarterly basis is then tabled at our National Management Quarterly Performance Review session, where management collectively identifies areas of underperformance and puts mechanisms in place to ensure that that remains on track. We have continuous training over the financial year on our technical indicator descriptions to make sure that at the point of delivery, our officials have a common understanding of performance and what needs to be reported. We also have a task team at head office level that visits all the management areas on an annual basis to conduct a validation process where we reconcile all our source data against the reported performance. Then, Honorable Chairperson, in terms of the planning framework, the question that was asked on the planning framework, I think it's important to note that the department complies with the planning guidelines from the Department of Performance Monitoring and Evaluation. So our planning at the strategic plan and APP level is guided by the framework for strategic plan and annual performance plan. And this takes into consideration the medium-term strategic framework as well as the national development plan. Our plans are submitted, the drafts are submitted to the National Treasury and the DPME for assessment. After that assessment, those plans are then submitted to the AG to look at compliance and usefulness. When we get feedback from the AG, National Treasury, and DPME, we then prepare that based on the comments received for tabling to Parliament. Once we've tabled, we again provide back those final documents to the AG, to the DPME, and to the National Treasury for oversight. At an institutional level within the department, we have annual operational plans that talk to each branch and chief directorate within the department. And these also inform the work plans of individual officials within the organization. And breaking that further down, we have then program and project plans that deal with specific short to medium term areas of work in the department, where we look at things such as improving on the audit, how we implement our infrastructure plan, our HR plan, our IT plan, our SCM plan, and various other areas of work to ensure that everything that we do feeds up into the achievement of our outcomes and our outputs in our departmental plans. Chairperson and honorable members, I think from strategic management side, that's a summary of what we would like to present to the Portfolio Committee on Performance Information. I will hand over to our CFO to take us through the supply chain management responses.
Thank you, Commissioner, Chairperson, and
and honorable members of the committee. I'm actually going to take through the committee on the issues of supply chain management and subsequently thereafter to the issues of the audit action plans. Honorable Chair, let me start first by introducing myself. My name is Abel Modau. I'm the Deputy Commissioner in Internal Control and Compliance. On the issues that were raised relating to supply chain management, Honorable Chair, there were issues where the committee actually requested that the department should actually provide the committee with the breakdown of the irregular expenditure register, as well as the cases relating to consequence management. I'll start first by indicating that the breakdown of the irregular expenditure register was actually forwarded, which actually reflects the names of the officials where officials are involved in were found to be involved in issues of transgressions. It also reflects the rent values as well as the incidents and investigation outcomes. Similarly, the list that or schedule that was also provided on the consequence management, it reflects a total of 136 cases where relating to transactions where officials were found to have transgressed the laws and regulations, and also on that list it also provides the investigation outcomes relating thereto. On the issue that was actually raised relating to the AGSA audit report on investigations conducted on irregular fruitless and wasteful expenditure, the departments would like to report that yes, we do agree with the AG that not all cases relating to the 2018 at the time of the audit. Of legacy department has actually made a great stride to actually fast-track the investigations of these cases in 1819 and 1920. And to date, Chair, that a total number of cases of fruitless and wasteful expenditure and irregular expenditure not yet investigated is 112 and 36 respectively. That is for fruitless and wasteful expenditures 112 and irregular expenditure 36. Only 15 cases of fruitless and wasteful expenditure incurred were not investigated in 2018, and whereas 69 cases relating to 1920 were not investigated. In relation to the irregular expenditure for the 2018-19 and financial year, a total of 11 cases were not investigated, and only 3 cases relates to the 1920 financial year. The department has put the following mechanisms in place to fast-track investigations, such as the establishment of the Investigation Steering Committee to oversee and facilitate processing of cases. In addition, the department has also reinforced the capacity through soliciting support from the regions as well as the departmental investigation unit to ensure that we have more team to fast-track the investigation. That is in relation to supply chain management responses. As far as the audit action plans are concerned, Chair, the response of the department that the department developed an audit action plan based on the audit outcomes, that is the findings, root causes as well as and recommendations as highlighted by the auditors. The audit action plan, which are commitments to address the inadequacies and effectiveness of the internal controls as found by the auditors, is populated on the register. This takes into cognizance issues on the management report and the final audit report as raised by the auditors. What the department does, that the department develops an appropriate and relevant audit action plan to improve internal controls in areas where the Auditor General has indicated as areas of concern. The audit action plans, including progress thereon, are reviewed for relevance and monitored on a monthly basis by the department. And on a quarterly basis, these progress reports relating to the audit action plans are presented to the National Management Quarterly Performance Review sessions of the department to exercise oversight, and they are also reported to the Audit Committee for better engagement and opinion. For the 2018-19 financial year, a total number of 204 findings were reported by the Auditor General on the financial statements, performance information, and compliance aspects. Some of the common root causes raised in 2018-19 financial year relates to the slow progress made in addressing prior year audit findings, lack of understanding or implementation of modified cash standards, and lack of understanding of the supply chain management prescripts. To address this, the department incorporated the root causes to the audit action plan, and the following were measures undertaken during the 18-19 to improve the audit outcomes. As a result of the intervention by the department, 20% of the audit action plans were implemented at the end of the second quarter of 19-20 financial year to prevent the reoccurrence of findings. And as a result thereof, audit qualification on commitments was resolved in 19-20 financial year. The department also, as a result of the intervention, was able to reduce the number of qualifications from 2 in 18-19, which relates to commitments and irregular expenditure, to at least 1 in 19-20, now relating to the irregular expenditure. And also, SCM and finance officials were trained on MCN and supply chain management prescripts, that is in relation to the recommendations as made by the auditors. Notwithstanding the above, Chair, the department is scheduling workshops to assist management to adequately and effectively address audit findings raised by the Auditor General in the 19-20 financial year. So, Chair, that is our responses to the issues raised on the audit report and the supply chain management.
Good morning, Honorable Chairperson and members. My name is Nicky Gege, I'm the CFO. I'm going to be responding to 2 questions raised by Honorable Maseko Jele on procurement. The question on why we reasons why.
Can you speak closer to the mic? Your voice is too soft. You are struggling to articulate.
Thank you, Chairperson. I'm going to be responding to the 2 questions by Honorable Maseko Jele on procurement processes. The first one was on reasons for not following competitive bidding processes. Our response to that question is that the department, we do ordinarily follow competitive bidding processes for goods and services that are estimated to be above 500,000. Such procurement needs are identified before the beginning of the year and are included in the procurement plan, which is implemented by the various regions as well as LOCs. In the main, these items are perishable and non-perishable provisions. And with respect to perishable provisions, in our case, it's more with items such as bread, protein products, meat, fish, poultry, whereas on non-perishables, those will include groceries as well as cleaning materials. The amount of
Chair, sorry, it's Honorable Wilmer here.
Hello.
It's Honorable Wilmer. The sound was very terrible, and the interpreter could not hear. So, could the CFO please start the response to the question again? The sound was quite terrible. Thank you, Chair.
I'm going to thank you. Please let me know if I'm audible. The first question I'm responding to is on the reasons for not following competitive bidding processes. The department follows competitive bidding processes for goods and services that are estimated to be above 500,000. Such procurement needs are identified before the beginning of the year and included in the procurement plan, which is implemented by the various regions and as well as LOCs. The main item is perishable and non-perishable provisions. And perishable provisions are food items such as bread, protein products, which are meat, fish, and poultry, whereas the non-perishables would include groceries and cleaning material. The amount that was disclosed in the financial statement of just over 1 billion as irregular for 1920 relates to such items. The reason for the expenditure to be deemed as irregular is due to the fact that In aggregate, these requirements exceed 500,000. However, the department procured these items through price quotations of up to 500,000 at a time. The procurement of these items through price quotations is as a result of not having contracts in place. As the department secured term contracts for these items, procurement would not be regarded as irregular. And the reasons for not having contracts in place includes, amongst others, poor planning where bids are advertised late, resulting in existing contracts coming to an end without the renewal contract in place on time. The poor contract monitoring by the end users. We have also introduced a system where we do due diligence on bids that have been done. These are done at a head office. So a region will do a procurement process. Before it is awarded, we go and check the process. But sometimes we find that when we do the due diligence, there is non-compliance in those processes which may result in irregularity. Then the region is advised to cancel and withdraw the bid and redo the process. As a result, then there would not be a contract in place, and they have to buy through price quotations. And in other instances, is where there's non-responsiveness of bids, which leads to cancellation of tenders. The nutrition provisions for offenders is crucial and is dependent on offender population. Hence, when contracts are not in place, price quotations have to be utilized to ensure continuity of services for the care of inmates. However, we have, in collaboration with National Treasury, started the strategic sourcing approach, which we have already concluded in terms of the development of specifications for the nutrition requirements. By April 2021, the procurement processes for nutrition will be concluded, where we will have contracts in place in all the regions. We have already advertised the bid, and we are waiting to receive responses and evaluate them from January up until the end of March. The second question from Honorable Maseko Jele was on why we're not using SITA. That was on the procurement of ICT goods and services. Honorable Chairperson, we do utilize SITA on various IT requirements, both for mandatory services as well as non-mandatory services. Mandatory services includes the support and licensing of what we call transversal systems. These are PESA, which is the HR system, BAS, which is the finance system, and LOGIS, which is for procurement administration and logistics management. But in addition to that, IT infrastructure, such as the wide area network and connectivity, is a service procured solely from SITA by the department. However, the SITA Act allows for deviation from utilizing the SITA processes, provided that they give us that approval. The basis for the Auditor General to conclude that ICT goods and services were procured without SITA is in relation to procurement done by the department after it obtained approval from SITA to do so. This was in relation to procurement for the installation of local area network infrastructure, such as cabling and switches. Following that approval by SITA to deviate, the department put in place a panel of service providers nationally who can render the services through an open and transparent process. So we had a panel of service providers to do that. However, one of the regions utilized this process correctly. However, when they advertised the request for proposal, the panel had not expired, but on awarding of the bid, the panel term had ended. So it is for this reason that the Auditor General found that the process was not compliant with the SITA Act. And that was one instance where it related to non-compliance to SITA Act for this financial year, or rather the 1920 financial year. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Commissioner. As Thank you, Commissioner. Good morning, Honorable Chairperson and members of the Portfolio Committee. My name is Anna Molepo, the CDC Community Corrections. I will be responding to the questions raised by Honorable Brittenbach on the issue of community corrections caseloads as to whether community corrections has been capacitated to deal with the number of parolees and probationers after the special remission. The department was granted permission in December 2019 to remit the sentence expiry dates of specific categories of sentenced offenders, probationers, and parolees across all correction facilities in the country. The decision taken by His Excellency, President Ramaphosa, in line with Section 84(2)(j) of the Constitution of the Republic of South Africa, Act 108 of 1996 as amended, and international practice, is part of the department's continuous efforts to promote national unity and reconciliation in a democratic South Africa. The 2019 Special Remission Project included 59.06% of probationers which were already in communities and not in correctional facilities, that is 8,560 probationers out of the total of 14,492. 19.32% of parolees which were already in communities and not in correctional facilities, that is 10,593 parolees out of the total of 54,819. And it also included 27.63% of the community corrections population, which excluded the awaiting trial persons, and the 27.63% they were already in communities and not in correctional facilities. That is 19,153 out of the community corrections population of 69,311. And 9.83% of the inmate population within correctional facilities qualified for special remission. That is 15,911 out of the inmate population of 161,865. So that is the inmate population and community correction caseload as at the 16th December 2019 at the commencement of the special remission. So the following table that we have provided is just to indicate the average number of community correction caseloads per year. To say from 2014 to 2019, in 2014 we had 68,000, 2015 we had 70,348, 2016 we had 69,000, 2017 71,000, 2018 we had 79,573, and in 2019 we, on average, we had 54,537. So the caseload at community corrections was 69,311, excluding awaiting trial persons on the 16th of December 2019, which then reduced to 53,285, excluding awaiting trial persons at the end of the financial year. The ratio of officials to parolees and probationers under community corrections is 1 official to 33 parolees and probationers per day. The caseload of parolees and probationers at the end of September 2020 was 60,970 against a total of 1,870 officials. The number takes into consideration that all officials in community corrections perform the monitoring of parolees and probationers. The ratio of the official to parolee and probationer should take into consideration the vastness of the area in which the official has to travel. Even though the ratio is 1 to 33 per day, there are challenges such as the vastness of the area to cover all cases per day. For example, in rural areas, an official may be required to travel plus or minus 250 kilometers to monitor one offender. The distance to be traveled consumes time that could be used to monitor other parolees and probationers. And depending on the safety risk of the area concerned, visits to offenders must take place by at least 2 monitoring officials. To further capacitate community corrections, learners have been placed in some community corrections offices, and that will be expanded to other community corrections offices in all other regions. The department is currently working on the micro-organizational structure, and ideally, the ratio of officials to parolees and probationers should be around 1 to 20 for the monitoring official to ensure that the parolee and probationer adhere to all conditions, that is program attendance, community participation, for example, even crime awareness, community service, work visits, where applicable, office visits, including the monitoring of parolees to ensure that they seek and maintain employment and intervene where necessary, random physical monitoring, and preparation of supervision reports. The ideal ratio of 1 to 20 will not be realized due to the budget constraints, and the department would therefore require support of the Portfolio Committee on Justice and Correctional Services to support the department in securing funding from the National Treasury to increase the capacity within community corrections. And monitoring of offenders under the system of community corrections must be conducted in terms of Section 68 of the Correctional Services Act 1998, Act 111 of 1998. The monitoring category will be determined by the predicted risk of the offender, or as determined by the court, correctional supervision and parole board, or head of the correctional center, or the commissioner, or the delegate. And the risk category is as follows. We have high risk supervision category, which demands the minimum number of contacts with offenders should be 8 for the high risk offenders. And for the medium risk supervision, the number of contacts should be 4. And for the low risk supervision, the number of contacts with offenders per month should be 2. And monitoring can be done through various ways. It can be done through physical visits at home, place of residence, or care during any day of the week, or weekends, or public holidays. And if discussed and agreed upon by the offender and or employer, physical visits can be done at the place of work during the week or weekends or public holidays. Telephonic contact can also be done. Compulsory visits by the offender to the community corrections office or sub-office or satellite office or service point or reporting point can also be conducted. And monitoring of offenders must not be limited to office hours, but it must also take place after hours. Monitoring and supervision of offenders under the system of community corrections is conducted through 218 community corrections offices, which are located in 9 provinces. These offices were mainly established to provide access to a wide range of support services and programs to offenders serving their sentences under the system of community corrections. Thank you, Commissioner, and thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Chair. I'm going to hand over to CDC HR. He's connected remotely. So I'll just ask him to respond to...
How many responses are outstanding? How many responses are outstanding?
Chair, there's, let me see, it's about 7. Oh,
it's about
two people to respond, Chair. But it's 7 responses.
Because I would like to have members having an opportunity to come back if they so wish. That is why I wanted these things to be circulated yesterday, so that we don't spend enough time. We could have read some of these things yesterday, and so that we do not spend so much time. We have enough time for engagement. So can people be straight to the point in their responses?
Thank you, Chair. I'm just going to ask CDC HR just to give a brief response, and then I'd request that the chairperson of the audit committee respond thereafter, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Commissioner. Good morning, Chairperson and honorable members. My name is Mwegeti Mashibini. I'm the head of HR in the department. I am actually responding to the 4 questions which were raised by Honorable Maseko Jele, Honorable Horn, as well as Honorable Nivot Dranche. The first question, Chairperson, was around the relevance of training that we are providing in the department. Yes, it is indeed, Chair, that we are providing the training that is relevant because our training is informed by a workplace skills plan, which is needs-based. During the course of the financial year 2019-20, the department has trained a total of 27,790 officials in line with this WSP against a target of 23,150. In other words, the department was able to exceed this target by 4,640, which translates to 20%. The training that we are providing, Chair, it is to a greater extent guided by the training priorities of the WSP, which are the strategic objectives of the department, the departmental inspections, as well as internal audits. Matters which are raised by oversight bodies, such as the portfolio committee, as well as Auditor General's reports, as well as government and sector-specific priorities. Governance, leadership, and management training are always our priority in as far as training is concerned. During the 2019-20 Chair, the reporting period, we can safely indicate that with regards to supply chain and financial management training, where they were included in our priority list within the WSP. In fact, supply chain management training was ranked number 3, and financial management training was ranked number 9. And during that particular year, Chair, we managed to train 272 officials on supply chain management related matters, including logis, asset management, public procurement, management of tender processes, demand management, investigations, loss control, contract management, and fleet management. A total of 406 officials were trained on financial management, including training on the Treasury regulations, the Basic Accounting System, Public Finance Management Act, internal audit, risk management, and monitoring.
Sorry, sir, we can read.
Okay.
We can read because the training for us, it has to result in an impact and outcomes. So you can have as much training as you want, but if we don't see the impact and the outcome, for us it's irrelevant. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We want to see and to hear the outcome and the impact of what has been the outcome and the impact of that training, and that is not what we're saying.
Oh, okay, Chairperson. We take note of that, Chair. The current processes that is underway, which relates to our integrated human resource strategy, is the establishment of an impact assessment tool that we are currently working on in order to do a follow-up on the impact of training after it has been delivered. So as soon as our strategy has been implemented, it will also come along with this particular tool. Thank you, Chairperson. Regarding the second question that was raised by Honorable Horn, it was on the high vacancy rate in the department due to retirements. In that, we are saying that yes, the department does plan for the replenishment of human resources due to the retirements. Hence, we usually advertise post 6 months before they become vacant. However, the department still experiences challenges with vacancies emanating from unplanned and immediate resignations and deaths. The department's learnership program assists to replenish vacancies at an entry level. This is demonstrated by the number of appointments which were done during the financial year. For an example, during the year under review, the department managed to appoint 3,884 officials as compared to the financial year 2018-19, where only 690 officials were appointed. Despite the increase that was realized, these appointments did not make an impact on the reduction of the vacancy rate due to the number of officials, which is about 2,765, that terminated their services during the same period. The department managed to maintain a vacancy rate, however, of 9.4%, which is below the required DPSA norm of 10%. The development of an integrated HR strategy, which includes a retention strategy, is currently underway in order to reduce employee turnover and attrition and ensure employees are engaged and productive long-term employment. Another question which was raised by Honorable Horn Chairperson was about the implementation of the occupation-specific dispensation in the department. I need to indicate that this occupation-specific dispensation was introduced in the departments of around the departments to ensure that there is a career pathing and also retention of employees within government. And as a result, this was also applied in our department. It is common cause that there was a problem with the implementation of recognition of experience as per clause 11 of OSD Resolution 2 of 2009. In 2016, a settlement agreement was reached with organized labor, where the following payment schedules were agreed. 30% of the basic salary owed in lieu of not having implemented the recognition of experience as required by the resolution, effective from the 1st of April 2010, which was effected as follows. 17% of the basic salary back pay shall be paid in the financial year 2016-17. 6% of the basic salary shall be paid in financial year 2017-18. 4% of the basic salary pack shall be paid by the financial year 18-19. And 3% of the basic salary back pay shall be paid in the financial year 2019-20. All the above staggered payment schedule was paid to all qualifying serving officials as well as ex-officials. All in all, Chairperson, we managed to pay a total of 19,506 for both serving as well as ex-officials who qualified for OSD, which can be broken down in terms of the following. For serving officials, a total of 13,300 serving members have been paid already. Thus, all qualifying correctional officials currently in the employ of the department were paid as per settlement agreement. In terms of ex-officials, that is now those officials who have left the department, a total of 3,567 out of 6,306 were paid. This translates to about 57%. And currently, 2,739, which is about 43% of them, are still outstanding. They are outstanding due to the fact that the auditors who were there, who were employed on contract to verify their payments, their contract expired. And as a result, the department is currently procuring for auditors, an auditing firm, in order to finalize this verification process of the remaining 43%. In terms of the last question, which was asked by Honorable Nivo Drachin in terms of filling of vacancies and our commitment to youth employment, I need to indicate, Chairperson, that as part of our human resource policy, the department is targeting an increase in youth employment within the next 5 years and beyond, as per our annual performance plan. As a result of this strategic intervention, the department has employed 2,594 youth during the period under review, a total that translates to 66.8% of the total employment of 3,884. The department has an ongoing correctional services learnership program that creates a trained pool of trained and skilled youth that are readily available for absorption once vacancies arise at entry level. In addition to that, Chairperson, youth employment is also part of the targeted groups for all appointments in the promotional positions within the department. The department has entered into a memorandum of understanding with the South African National Defence Force chairperson during the current financial year to appoint 2,000 youth reserves so that we can fast-track the timeous turnaround in youth employment. As a result, a total of 1,286 youth reserves have been appointed to date, Chairperson. I thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Chairperson, and good morning, colleagues and committee members. My name is Jane Masite. I'll be talking to the question that was raised by Honorable Newhold Dragon on oversight by the Audit Committee during 2020 to ask as to whether reports are submitted to the Audit Committee. I must confirm that yes, reports are submitted which are based on financial and non-financial reporting. In terms of non-financial reporting, we are looking at service delivery reports, including the reports that management has talked to. Those are, we call them non-financial reports. And then we also look at the financial reports that the CFO and the colleagues presented on supply chain management and so forth. One has to say these reports are presented to the Audit Committee on quarterly basis, and to say in that we are guided by PFMA Treasury regulations, including the Audit Committee Charter that was approved by the Executive Authority. I'm not going to go into the reports that you are submitting the list because members have those reports, but one has to stress that in terms of quarterly reports on performance information, most of the recommendations that AG raises, the Audit Committee follow them up to check as to whether management is implementing the recommendations. We must also add that the performance information is audited by internal audit, and for the reports that management talk to, I mean on strategic management, we do have that oversight role that we play. One of the things that I want the audit, the committee to note is that in terms of the action plans.
Sorry, Chair. Sorry,
Yes,
Chair. Yes, I'm advised that we are on 408, so it will be important for members to switch on their videos unless their bandwidth is low. So we would request you to switch on your video.
Chairperson?
I would request you to switch on your video.
Chairperson, my airtime is low. So if I switch on my video, I'm going to have a problem. I might lose the meeting.
The bandwidth, okay, that's fine. Proceed.
Okay. Thank you, Chairperson. And I'm sorry about that. I would have made a proper arrangement. Chairperson, in terms of, I was on the issues of the quarterly reports. I've already talked to that, but of important is that we do look at risk management on quarterly basis, and one has to add that the management from the accounting officer, we have appointed the independent risk chairperson. He's only 3 months in the office. We are thinking that that will improve the system of risk management, because if we have a system that is working from risk management point of view, some of the things that the committee is concerned on, they will be able to be considered, especially to strengthen the internal control. Because those are the key points of having the system working. We do look at legal reports, and the legal reports that we're looking at, the one that are from the contingency liabilities and litigation. Other issue that we're looking at, Chair, of IT reports, and one has to outline that in terms of IT, management has appointed one of the members as an IT governance chairperson, just to assist in the area of enforcing the controls around IT. Further, Chairperson, one of the things that I want to talk to is that we do have a good relationship with AG. AG has done the status of record review on our records of control and governance. And one has to say they have raised some of the issues that management is looking at. And we think from audit committee, go forward in terms of improving the audit outcome. The key commitments that they have identified, management will incorporate them. I think in my first presentation, I talked about key control framework, which we think if implemented, some of the issues that are raised will improve the system and make it what we want to. But I think the chair asked a question on the impact. Maybe one has to say, even if we did not get a better opinion, there was an impact because the two audit findings raised for last year as qualification, they were reduced to one audit qualification. And if you look at the key dashboard, the key control dashboard that AG presented, we can see that in terms of the implementation of the AG audit findings, there was a movement, though it's not that movement that made us to get an unqualified audit opinion. One is more comfortable that whatever that management is putting in place is working, though it's not working at the speed that you want to work to show the results. And further, Chairperson, as an audit committee, we were celebrating our first day in the office. We are thinking that going forward, some of the things that we are raising with management will really be implemented. And to say most of the recommendations that we have recommended to management, we can confirm that at least most of them were implemented. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much, Chair of the Audit Committee. Office of the Auditor General.
Thank you, Honourable Chairperson and members. Chairperson, I think from our side, the only point that we would like to maybe just emphasize is when the presentation and reply was made on the performance information, it is indeed so that the system is not functioning the way it should. And therefore, it becomes very important that management should then introduce manual controls. It is not ideal when you have a system to still have a lot of manual controls. But in cases where the system is not reliable, it's important then for management to bring in manual controls as well. When it comes to the supply chain management environment, it's a decentralized environment. And therefore, it is very important that even though training takes place, that there is enough supervision to ensure that the controls are complied to, and to ensure that all the supply chain management prescripts are indeed applied. And I think there was also mention made by the feedback from the department about planning. Planning is very important, not to put the supply chain management units under pressure to do the procurement. There's a lot of processes that they need to go through, and they need adequate time to do those processes to ensure that the process is followed, which is fair, equitable, and transparent. That's all from our side. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Honorable members, do you have follow-up questions?
Chair Wilma.
Honorable Nubo Tracham.
Thank you very much, Chair. It's not a financial question, and if it can't be answered today, I do not mind a written response. The learnerships, can the department maybe give us in writing how many learners in the financial year of 2019-20 and 2018-19 and then 17-18, how many learners were in the learnerships program, and then how many of those were absorbed into the department? So if they are not able to answer that now, they can provide us with a written response. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Honorable Chele, is your hand up, or you did not lower your hand?
My hand is up, Chair. Thank you, Chairperson. And also thank you to the Commissioner and the team for the responses. But I have a few questions on the issue of those issues, the things that can you hear me, Chairperson?
Yes, we can hear you properly.
All right. On those issues that maybe that are procured.
Honorable Jale,
Yes, Chair.
Is it possible that you can open your video?
Okay, I'll do that, Chair. I'll try to open my video because I thought that maybe you want to see me, Chair.
Yes.
Yes.
We're live on TV, so they would want to see their faces.
Okay, thank you, Chair. So it was on the issue of the follow-up question on the issue of bidding, those procurement without following competitive bidding, Chair. It is only the follow-up question on saying there's a complaint that one received from Modapi, one of the mothers complaining that one of his son, I mean to say her son, was complaining that they don't have Colgate. And Colgate, I think it's one of those things that small things that the CFO was talking about, that they don't have to go through competitive bidding. So I want to know what are the other things that maybe which are problems that small things like that are not found in our facilities, because there is a complaint of that sort. If maybe I can get explanation on that one, Chair. But also on the issue of training, you have covered me. We don't want, we are interested, yes, in numbers, but indeed we're interested in the impact of those trainings. How effective are they? We cannot continue having problems when we are investing so much in training, Chairperson. So I think that matter, it has to be followed up when we come back. The impact of these trainings on our officials. We want our officials, it's either there is something wrong with training or there is something wrong with those who are supposed to receive training. So if we can get that one when we come back, Chairperson. And then another question that I'm having, Chairperson, I'm sure this one will be a new one. It is about the deaths that are happening in the correctional services. We have been hearing reports that it seems as if we're not getting right. People are still dying. Recently, it was reported that there was a police who was killed in the facilities. And also there's the officials fighting amongst themselves. I want to know what is it that will lead to the officials of correctional services to have differences that will lead that they fight to an extent that one person, one official die. Is there anything that we need to know, that we have to understand exactly what is happening in terms of the relationships between the officials? What makes them to differ to that extent of killing each other? Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mfuke.
Thank you, Chairperson, and thanks for the responses. Chair, I want to start with the question, actually the response that was given for Honorable Self. It was on the supply chain management. I want to check when they say that they are to establish, I think they are looking on establishing an investigation steering committee to oversee and facilitate processing. I want to know, who are they looking at? Is it internal or external? And if they are starting now, when are they going to finalize on the 60, I think it's 69 cases? And if we can also get the time frames for this, actually the finalization of these cases, because they can say that they are going to establish an investigation steering committee only to find out it will take a year. Maybe we should know, have a time frame from now on. The second part will be on the question of the supply chain management, that I want to know that if they are saying that they have plans, these supply chain people that are working there, are they vetted? And when was the last vetting done? Because it's very important that we know that people that are working there are honest with the public purse. On the issue that was raised by Honorable Maseko Jele, also on the killings and all that, you know, this thing that happened in Pretoria is worrying for many reasons. We expect the correctional services officials be the one that makes things to be better, because they are the ones that are doing supervision, or that they are actually looking at the corrections for those that are actually the prisoners. But if we find that they are the ones that are actually killing each other, then you ask yourself, how deep are the problems there? And I want to check on, do you have a system to monitor that employees or officials undergo wellness? And if they go wellness, who does that? And how many have been there in this year? And if you cannot answer me today, but at least I want to know from January to now in December, how many people have gone for wellness, and what are the conditions? How many are being sent maybe for to the whatever mental hospitals or whatever cases or depression? Do you have a debriefing sessions for yourselves as the officials, because you are human beings and we don't want things that we see that are happening now? But lastly, Chairperson, I would request that amongst other things that we should do in the next term is that we should visit this facility to see those officers and see how actually they are doing. As we do the city of Tshwane, we do other areas in Gauteng and other provinces. We should go to many places that we will discuss internally. And I'm saying this because I'm from the city of Tshwane. I have a knowledge of what is happening at Mampuru, that is happening at their office. But Bavensport, I'm working in Mamelodi. I can tell you a story. And also even the manner in which how some of the officials in the correctional services, carry themselves. And you expect them that when people are arrested, they are in prison, but they hang around with them over the weekends. We expect something good out of that. Those are the things that should happen. And hence I'm saying vetting is very important. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Honorable James, sir.
Thank you, Chairperson. I will not put on my video, if you'll excuse me, because my internet is unstable. I simply have two questions. On page 12 of the response, the department refers to questions 17 and 18, which I put the other day, relating to the Commissioner's presentation the other day and the question of Andile Lungisa. Those questions have not been responded to, and I'd want to know when I can expect an answer to those questions. The second one deals with the Appendix A. Now that has a series of columns, and the last column is called General Comments, and they relate to what is the status of the case in question. And several of them say that the case is finalized, the expenditure is found to have been irregular, and in many cases they've been referred to the DIU, but no official has been identified. And I just wonder why no official has been identified if the case has been referred to the DIU. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Honorable Glenis Breitenbach. Before Honorable Glenis Breitenbach, I made a mistake. I did not recognize the presence of the Deputy Minister of Justice and Correctional Services, responsible for Correctional Services, Inkosi Phathekile Olumisa. Deputy Minister, you are welcome to the meeting.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much. Honorable Dennis Breitenbach.
Good morning, Mr. Chair, and good morning, everybody else. Thank you very much. I was covered by the Honourable Self. Thank you, Mr. Chair.
Thank you very much. I just have, I think this question, well, I asked it, but I'm not sure that I am convinced by the response that I received from both the audit committee and the AG. So I would want to repeat the question. The audit committee was presented with regular management reports monitoring integrity, accuracy, and reliability. But on the other hand, the AG says they could not obtain sufficient, appropriate audit evidence for the achievements. I still think that that distinction needs to be explained. And this issue of the ADS, it can't be a project that runs in perpetuity, because when I was reading your responses last night, you said that you are still waiting for it to be operational. The issue is when. We want the date. When will it be operational? If it's a project has a start date and an end date. So when is it going to be operational? Over to you, Commissioner. Or maybe before Commissioner, since the Deputy Minister is present, would you want to make any comments, Deputy Minister?
No, Chairperson, I don't want to make any comments like a number of other people. I got this report only this morning, so I have not had an opportunity to engage on it with the department. I'll make time for myself in order to do that so that we can iron up any other issues that we believe ought to be improved upon in the presentation that has been given to you. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Deputy Minister, but I must express my concern. If reports are given to decision makers in the morning, how are the decision makers expected to reflect, think through the reports, and be able to lead? Because giving information last minute, that in itself is an act of manipulation. It can't be acceptable that the decision makers get information last minute, because they would not apply themselves properly. So I do think that the department must ensure that report information that comes to the committee or to any of the decision makers, it is on time. It is decision makers received reports on time. And we have been raising this thing not only with correctional services, also with justice. I must say that there is a lot of improvement from the justice side. We do get reports at least a day or 2 days before. Reports that are submitted on the day of the meeting are unacceptable. In fact, that is one way of undermining an institution.
Chairperson.
Honorable Mfuke.
Chair, thank you very much for raising that. With the answer or the response from Deputy Minister, I really have a problem with what is happening, because tomorrow we expect that the Deputy Minister should be able to assist us, that the department actually comply into what is happening. And if now he didn't see the report, how do we know that he agrees with them on other things that they are raising?
For instance, questions that we are asking, if the deputy minister doesn't know the report, or they haven't given him the report on time, what are we expecting him to do? Are we going to come here and criticize them when the officials fail to can do that? It should not happen again, Chairperson. It should not. We cannot allow officials to do things and just give a person as a leader, a political leader in the department, just like us. It cannot happen even for us today. It's unprofessional that we got the report at 7 minutes past 12, 7 minutes past 7. It's not right. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mfokeng. Deputy Minister, and I think that would also something that should be relayed to the Minister. Next time when we send your departments packing, don't be surprised, because on our side we would not allow this continuous act of manipulation. We have also our own research capacity. We have to subject certain information to our research people, both within Parliament and in our parties. We have research capacity. Now, if we are given information late, there is no way that we are able to have information verified. So when we send your departments packing and we tell them that we're not going to listen to them, don't be surprised. And also on your side, I think it's time that you must start to crack the whip, because it can't be the duty of Parliament alone to crack the whip on the departments if the executives are not doing that on their part.
Chairperson, I take note of what the committee is saying, and to tell the truth, this is something that I have been hammering onto the department since I joined it, that documents to be presented to the portfolio committee must be presented on time. But besides that, all documents that are supposed to be given in the form of a report to the portfolio committee must be presented to us as a ministry, so that we are in a position to take ownership of the contents of that document. And I take heed of the instruction or advice that I must bring this to the attention of the minister, so that something is done about it between the ministry and the department. Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you, Deputy Minister. I think that the Commissioner needs to, if this has been brought to your attention, Commissioner, on a number of occasions, and there has been no improvement, why there has been no improvement? Why would the ministers and Parliament get reports last minute? And that has been brought to your attention, and there has been no improvement, because one would come to a conclusion that there is no improvement because you simply don't, the department just does not want to comply. And if the department does not want to comply, does the department want to be led, or does it want to lead itself? And since we are all there, I can see you are all there. There's also something that has been brought to my attention, which I detest extremely. I've been advised that as much as you would come in numbers as you are now, but you always come back to the committee secretariat to ask them to assist you with the questions that were asked by members. The committee section does not work for the department. We expect you, if you come in such big numbers, that you do note the questions asked by the members and not come back to Parliament and ask what were the questions. So which means we're just on a joyride and not doing anything. So we can't expect that we can have such an army of people and then you come back to parliamentary support staff to ask what were the questions. They are not working for the department, they are working for Parliament. If they have to do your work, which means they're not doing their work. So that one must come to an end now.
Chair, if you are done, Chair, can I add also?
Honorable Jelle.
Thank you, Chairperson. I think what the Deputy Minister answered to the question, the statement made by Honorable Mufokeng, sum it all. That is why, Chairperson, we still have issues that keeps on persisting when it comes to the things that has not been done, correct, the irregular expenditure and all those issues that we are talking about. We still have officials that do things without, because when I was reading last, another question that they did not answer is that one of why do we still have officials that still have do things like extending contract without the mandate, without the person who's supposed to approve that. You find that thing just passes like it's a normal thing. So what the minister is saying, it means there is no accountability. There is no responsibility when it comes to our officials, when it comes to doing things right, especially because the deputy minister cannot come in the meeting and say he did not see the report. I was thinking that anything that has to come to Parliament, it has to pass through the deputy minister and the leadership in that department. So this is not acceptable, Chairperson. I was just adding my voice on that. Thank you.
My hand is up.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mfokeng.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. I think I want to say that the Deputy Minister is honest because he's responsible for this department. But now what is worrying even more is that when they come with an answer that they gave to Honorable Self on the establishment of the Investigation Steering Committee, who are they doing this with without the ministry? Can they just wake up and just decide that they establish something without minister and deputy ministers knowing? How many other things that we don't know? And also on the commissioner, when he says that the shooting that happened in Pretoria, that there's an investigation. Did they talk to the ministry? Do they know what they are going to do? It's not about them. There's a political leadership here. And if they are undermining this way, we want to know how many other things are happening. And I think it's imperative, Chairperson, that we start looking at this. It's very, very worrying, especially how the minister was honest to us, to answer us, because most of the time we criticize the political leadership. It's either the minister or deputy minister, but it says a lot in this department, noting that all the things that are happening that we've been stammering. And I think we need to have our own meeting as the committee to further look at this. There are questions that have been asked by other members. They haven't even responded to them. And we really need them to reply them because we have deputy ministers that are supposed to be assisting them. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Chair, if I may come in just for a little issue. Well, the reason I didn't want to speak to this report after it has been presented to the committee is not that I disagree or not understand everything that is here, but there are issues, of course, that we ourselves as a ministry have questions for. And that's why then I didn't want to say, yes, I agree with a particular point, and to either be vague on other issues or disagree with them, because we haven't had this opportunity. But on the issue of the shooting that took place at head office, we were informed by the senior management, the minister and I. about what happened and the investigations that are taking place. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much. Commissioner?
Thank you, Chair and honorable members. I think I need to respond to what has been said, Chair. I think first and foremost, as a department, we listen both to the executive and yourselves at all instances. And on all occasions, we try to ensure that we honor that we have been instructed to. And I think it is evident that as a department, we are improving. We are not perfect, but we are improving on reporting. Chairperson, it would be wrong to imagine that, because you see, when we talk, our annual reports had been submitted on time after the Auditor General had finalized. So we submitted that. What we had done and what we have been criticized for today, I have to apologize for, but let me put it in context, Chairperson. Questions were posed to us. Both the Minister and the Deputy Minister was not present in those prior engagements with the committee. We were supposed to respond verbally. We thought it opportune that we provide a written text to our response for ease of reference, so that as we respond, the honorable members has an opportunity to at least follow what we have done. If I've erred in that, I take responsibility for that, Chairperson. On the questions by Honorable Breitenbach himself on questions 17 and 18, those written responses were submitted yesterday, Chair. So we had submitted the written responses yesterday. The notes that I had spoken to loosely on the prior day had also been submitted yesterday, Chair. So I just think it's unfortunate that the way it's being reflected as if we are not, that we are trying to manipulate the committee. The intention was not that. We actually try to assist the committee in this instance. I'm also concerned, Chair, that there's indications that we are trying to operate without the executive, because that would mean that we are projecting a perception that we're unconstitutional, Chair. And that we should be challenged with that, and we should be charged if that is so. But I think it's unfortunate, because we're also talking here to the public, Chair. It would be unfortunate if there's a impression left that we operate unconstitutionally. We are not perfect. That I accept at all instances, Chair. But I do think the intention today was to assist the committee, because we understood the time constraints so that we are able to advance the work of the committee. So I apologize, Chair, if that was wrong. I apologize with that in that regard. I think on all instances when we submit to the committee, we do it through the executive. As I'm saying, this was supposed to be verbal responses, and that is most probably the error in judgment from my side, Chair. I just wanted to talk to the BD issue. I don't know if you want me to talk to the questions, the other questions that were posed, Chair.
Proceed, Commissioner. But do note that what has come to our attention is that the DM has said that she has been consistently raising the issue of late submission to yourself, to the department. So it's not just what these incidents of the questions, but according the information before us is that he has been consistently raising this thing. It's not an isolated event of these questions that were received by him late today. And that is also the context that is the committee is also looking at. But you can proceed with other questions.
Thank you, Chair. No, Chair, I think on the last comment, that is correct. The Deputy Minister and the Minister has raised with us this issue, and that's why I indicated that we have tried to improve, and I think we have over the recent past. But we'll commit, Chair, to ensure that we make these submissions timely going forward. I must indicate, Chair, that I am surprised. I will follow up with my colleagues on those who are engaging the secretariat of the committee on questions, because I wouldn't understand why. Because we are recording the questions. Yeah, you are correct. We are collective, we are recording it, and we are engaging on them. So I will follow that up. I apologize that somebody has done that, but I'll make sure that that never repeats itself, because it's unacceptable and should not be repeated, Chairperson. Chairperson, on the question by Honorable Nieuwe Bruggen, we will make sure that we provide a written response so that we're just factual on the matter. On the matter of Honorable Maseko Jele on the impact of the training, I can concur, Chairperson, that we are reviewing our human resource management strategy, and the overall of that is also looking how do we convert our college. We've got direction from the executive that we need to transform the college from a college to a academic institution. So that we're looking at how we are able to transform that, but in doing so also see how we are able to have far greater impact in the training interventions. We've identified areas, Chairperson, where there are shortcomings in our training that we are going to be reintroducing. We are ever wanting to hang this on our HR strategy so that it's systematic and consistent. On the matter of deaths, and specifically the death of the police, the killing of a policeman by a remandee, I think it's important to note that that remandee was not within our care, that remandee was in the care of the police, and that matter had happened within the police, the responsibilities, Chairperson. On the matter of supply chain, I'm going to ask the CFO to respond to the matter of supply chain. And then I just wanted to also indicate on the issue of the investigation steercom, that committee has already been established. So it's a committee that is already responding to the challenges that we had. We established the steercom primarily because we realized that there wasn't sufficient follow-through on those investigations. So we had ensured that we dealt with that. Chairperson, on the issue of the accommodation determination system, I fully agree on that matter, that it's long outstanding. We have given a deadline of the system to be fully implemented by the end of the financial year, so that there's a timeline on that system, Chairperson. I then just ask the CFO to respond to the other questions, if you allow me, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Chairperson. The Honorable Maseko Jele asked the question on the what other contracts are not in place for the census, and indicated about the complaint at Model B regarding toothpaste. Yes, indeed, items for hygiene care, which is your toothpaste and soap and so forth, falls within the non-perishable grouping, which I had indicated that there are no contracts in place. Modabi is currently has issued the tender on this set of items. I've been advised that they are currently evaluating. However, it does not mean that they cannot buy those items through price quotations. I think we would just humbly request that we be provided, we will follow through with the Modabi management area to check the interim measures that they've put in place for these items. Thank you.
Chair, there's just maybe two issues that I had not touched on, and if there's any other, I'll make sure that we're able to respond to them. On the issue, Honorable Muhokeng, she raised the issue on the wellness that was implemented during the course of this calendar year. Chairperson, we will ensure that we provide a comprehensive report on that. And on the issue of the vetting of supply chain management staff, we'll be able to make that available. I think what's important to note there, Chair, is one, that vetting is a competency of the State Security Agency, and we're therefore dependent on a third party to conclude on that matter. But we'll be able to make that available. I can, however, indicate that our security component is in the process currently of developing a vetting and integrity assessment policy. The reason for this adaptation, which we would be engaging SSA on, is because of the nature of the deviance that take place in our facility. We therefore believe that the vetting of supply chain senior managers is a matter that will happen, but it's a smaller core of officials. We are then looking at developing a policy and rolling out a system where we are able to do ongoing integrity tests. We know that there are technologies on the market and which is used by financial institutions where we can randomly do tests on officials because of the nature of the corruption that can take place, especially for officials at the coalface. We thought that we'd roll out this, but after we've finalized the policy and then engage SSA for adoption on that. So we are looking at how we are able to enhance the integrity or provide assurance on the integrity of our staff and isolate and identify those that are risky to the institution. I think there's a matter on the register. Yes, sorry. So I'll ask the DC internal compliance to just respond to that one.
Thanks, Commissioner, and thanks, Chair. On the issue of why names are not indicated on the general comment, especially for cases that are referred to the DIU, I need to indicate that given the specialized skills as well as the nature of the cases are actually referred, not all, but some cases, to the DIU to make a final determination of who are specific or who are officials that are involved, so that we can actually reflect the names subsequent thereto on the register. So it's more an issue of further analysis before we can actually reflect the names on the register. Thanks.
Thank you, Chairperson.
Thank you very much. I don't see any other hand from honorable members. Have all the questions been answered, members?
No, Chairperson.
Honorable Mfuke?
I want to know when is the investigation going to end? And then on the 69 cases, and I wanted to know when are they going to establish the investigation steering committee?
Okay. Any other questions? Members, please note, we would like to end the meeting at past, and then we would like to have a short meeting as a committee after that, before we go to the House. Honorable Mfukeng has made a follow-up. Any other follow-up?
Thank you very much, Chair. Allow me to respond to the issue relating to the investigation steering committee, to say whether it is an internal or external steering committee. Actually, just to reflect on that, Chair, is that the investigation steering committee is an internally resourced structure that assists the operations to ensure that cases are actually finalized and suspected finalized, and ensure that it assists with the quality of the information that is presented before the case is actually finalized. And as to when will the cases be finalized, our initial intention was to finalize by the end of November, but due to challenges relating to COVID, with regard to investigation, as well as issues relating to competing interests within the department, we are intending to finalize these cases by the end of the financial year. Thanks.
Thank you very much. There are no other questions. I must say, Deputy Minister, and to your team, Commissioner, and to your team, you have said that there has been an improvement. The question on our side, the question that we should be asking ourselves, it's whether, given that the department has been there for a very long time and the senior management has been with the department for a very long time, you might be an exception, Commissioner, that you may be less than 2 years, but generally your executive has been there for many years. Whether we can say that we are happy with this snail's pace of improvement, if at all there is an improvement, the question is no. With the many years that you have been there, the experience that you have accumulated, the issue that every time we are told about the plan, the strategy, it's not pleasing. It's not pleasing at all. We are not dealing with a department that was established 2 years ago. If other departments are able at this time to have clean audits, others within the justice cluster, within the justice family or the justice portfolio committee have been having clean audits for the past 19 years. Why should we accept slow improvements on your side when you have been there, you are highly experienced, you have been in that department for 20 years? Now, the fundamental question is whether, given the targets that the country has set for itself in terms of the NDP, the medium-term strategic framework, at the rate at which we are going, are we going to say we are going through you deliver a better life to South Africans? I am not convinced. I am not convinced that we are going to at this pace. I am not convinced at all that we are going to be able to change the lives of our people. You need to do a serious reflection. We have decided not to vote on the BRRR reports today because we also want to do a deep reflection as a committee to say, doing things as we have been doing with you are we going to really meet the expectations of our people? Or are we just ticking boxes? And ticking boxes that have got no direct impact on the lives of the people? Are we going to, through you, create a safer society for all South Africans? Are you up to the task? Are you fit for purpose? I think this is what you should really be asking yourself. These improvements that you are patting yourself on the back, for us, they are seriously, given the magnitude of the expectations on the government and the response from your side as the department. We have not, I was telling some of the colleagues yesterday, including the whip of the ANC, that as far as I'm concerned, we have not even scratched the surface in as far as the Department of Correctional Services is concerned. We have not started. So we can't pat you on the back. We need a radical departure from how things have been done. I said earlier on, we are more concerned now about outcomes and impacts than report on processes. Processes are for you to manage. We want outcomes, we want impact. And clearly, it's difficult to deduce that from the reports we are getting. So go and do a deep reflection and ask yourself this question: are you fit for purpose? Is South Africa safe in your hands? Thank you very much. Thank you very much, colleagues. The meeting is adjourned. Can all members of the committee remain behind whilst the department is logging out?
Thank you, Chairperson and honorable members.
Honorable members, thank you very much. With the few minutes that are left, I think we are going to deal with two issues. One is the request by Honorable Glenis Breitenbach for us to sit as a committee. And then the other one is your normal pleasantries as we are meeting for the last time today and seeing each other next year. Can I take this opportunity to invite Honorable Breitenbach?
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair. I wanted to ask if the 2-week deadline for the Grant Thornton report to be made available to the committee has now passed. I do believe it has. So I want to know if we have received that report, and if we haven't received it, can we as a committee ask the department to move it along and make it available before this year ends? If we allow it to slide into next year, we really are just never ever going to see that report. And I believe the 2 weeks was up on Wednesday. And that's one issue, and then of course the pleasantries, but I can wait for that. Thank you.
Okay. No, thank you very much, Honorable Breitenbach. I think maybe because of the workload, I will just make a follow-up.
Thank you.
I'll make a follow-up, yes. Thank you very much, honorable members. Let me take this opportunity to thank you and to thank our support staff, to thank everybody who has been supporting us throughout the year for the hard work done and the manner in which you have really carried yourself as members, as the support staff, our research team, our committee secretariat, PMG, and all other members, the ministry staff, especially the PLO, he has always been very assisting. Thank you very much for the manner. In fact, we have made this year to be normal as though it was not normal. I think in terms of the output, we have really pushed as the committee, and that is due to the teamwork we have had as the committee, with all the support that we have received from our support staff. So I was on my side as a chair, I was just going to say thank you very much for the support, and I wish you everybody a safe journey, a happy Christmas and a happy New Year. Hopefully we will meet in one piece next year so that we can continue with our work. Early next year, what we need to do is to have the first day is to have a meeting over Zoom where we will plan properly for the year. It's quite clear that we might also need a different approach to some of our institutions. And we must think properly what we would need to see reflected on the BRRR, especially of this correctional services. It's very important that we must take this time to do a lot of reflection on what issues do we think we can do differently next year. But I wish all members a happy Christmas and a prosperous New Year for next year.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, honorable members.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. May I say something?
Honorable Breitenbach.
Dog off my lap. Just a second. Yeah, thank you very much. And also thank you to you, Mr. Chair, for the huge amount of work that you have put in and the integrity with which you have conducted the committee this year. I've told you many times it's a very pleasant improvement on the 5th Parliament, and this committee really does work, so we're grateful to all the members. Thank you very much to the support staff. Without them, we would be lost. Remain grateful to them, and of course, we hope that you all have a wonderful Christmas and a wonderful New Year, and we look forward to seeing you in the New Year, well and healthy.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Since there are no list of speakers, can I say the meeting is now adjourned, officially adjourned?
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chairperson. Thank you, members of the committee. Happy New Year, happy Christmas, happy everything.
Thank you very much. We'll see you next year. Don't drink and drive.
We should not do something that you wouldn't do, Chairperson, eh? Is that what you're saying?
No, we can't drink and drive with masks on, Chair. Honorable woman.
No, thank you very much. Please, members and to our lovely staff, please take this time to relax. We have worked very, very hard. Sometimes it was not easy, but you have worked very hard under difficult circumstances. Thank you very much. Go and relax.
Thank you, Chair.
Thank you.